Is this too much in my way? Happy Friday, folks, and it is a fabulous Friday here at Disco Sunday Studios. I hope you all have been enjoying your weekend and staying cool during this warm weather we're having. Me personally, I love it. It's a prelude to the beginning of summer, my most favorite time of the year. And of course, one of my favorite months that I happen to be named after. We're 5 days in, feeling good, looking forward to all that the summer has to offer us. I hope that you all have been making sure that you're staying hydrated, and I hope that you all are making sure as well that you're keeping up with the changes that's taking place in and around your area, because I was just out and about within the last week or so, and I noticed there are so many new places in and around the area to check out, food venues, different over in the Columbia area. We have the Meriwether District up and popping. Last night there was a concert. I'm not sure who was there, but they played well into the night. Sounded good to me too. Little mixture. So that's entertainment going on in and around Columbia. They're going to be having some festivals over there, not to mention the lakefront. We'll be keeping you up on all that information. And for anyone who has events coming up or activities that you like to share, please feel free to connect with me. Either you can direct message me or just give me a call, and then that way I'll make sure I mention it. One of the other things that's very important to me to mention right now is the fact that I'm trying to build my membership, my subscriptions on my YouTube channel so that I can go live with streaming. Unfortunately, I'm trying to do this on Facebook at the same time as I'm recording for my YouTube channel, and I'm getting a little frustrated because the Facebook keeps cutting off. But I want this to reach my audience because, I know a lot of you have some really good ideas and suggestions that you like for me to implement. So again, by going to my channel and commenting, that'll help strike up the dialogue written, if you would, so that it can transform into verbally. And I know that's going to happen within the next few months, and I want to thank you all. I'm at the next few weeks, and I'd like to thank you all who have subscribed. I'm so very grateful for you all. And with you guys subscriptions, please let me know what it is you'd like to see on the channel. Again, Facebook, I'm disconnected. But in the meantime, when you do go to the channel, some of the things that I'd like you to take interest in is the new audiobook that I had released back in the winter, entitled To Saeed with Love. Is a book of poetry for the grown and sexy. If you go to my channel, you'll be able to hear little blurbs from various poems. And if you're interested in purchasing the book, let us know. And also, you'll be able to hear little blurbs and pieces of February, the audio book. For those of you who already have the book, you'll be in for a real treat. I'd like to talk about right now what's going to be going on with some of the up and coming podcast, because I did speak to quite a few of you at the beginning of 2026 who shared some very interesting topics of concern that you wanted me to at least mention. And after today, if anybody wants me to delve deeper into the topics, please let me know, because I'd be more than happy to do the research so that we can keep the dialogue going. One that really is at the top of at the top of the list, at the forefront of my mind, is all of the violence that's going on. Okay, but in particular, domestic violence, it's on the rise, and because of that, we are finding a lot of people who are homeless. We're finding children who are hungry because of the homelessness and instability due to parents that aren't able to get along and rear together. This is a huge matter that we are facing in our society. Fortunately, I've noticed that more and more buildings are being constructed for the homeless. However, we have to really understand how people get to be homeless. It's not just a matter of people being careless with their finances. And especially now with all the tariffs and taking place on businesses, which are making prices go up higher for consumers, some people are literally not able to maintain a steady roof overhead. There's a lot of people living in hotels and motels. Sometimes it could be because of the simple fact of health reasons. Maybe they lost their job and not able to work any longer. It could be mental health problems that, maybe they can't function stably without medications, and between choosing to buy groceries and gas, and they can't pay for medications. So now, they can't function to keep a roof overhead. There's many situations that's going on out here, folks. But today I'm going to talk about the domestic violence. It's at the forefront, and I know that some of you may have heard the podcast back during the winter with the experience my daughter and I had at the what is it called, Dobbin Road West. It's over there where the Chipotle is, and Noodles and Company. Anyway, we were actually leaving the parking lot one day when a young lady jumped out of this car running from a guy. And I was trying to catch up to the young lady in order to help her, but couldn't find her when we circled the parking lot. By the time we reached back to the car that she had jumped out of, the guy was dragging her back in. So fortunately, I gave chase and another young lady gave chase. The young lady, had more info than I did, and we were both able to contact the police and put them on the case to track this guy. Now, I'm not saying what we witnessed was a matter of domestic violence between two people who knew each other. For all we know, that could have been an abduction that we saw. But it's happening too often, folks. People are being trafficked out here big time. And whether some of you are aware or not, this is what's seeping through the entertainment realm as well as the political realm, as people are speaking more and more about the human trafficking that's been taking place. Human trafficking leads to violence. And if you happen to get human trafficked and then you find someone who doesn't, want to let you go, they're obsessed with you, well, guess what's going to happen next? The domestic violence. This is not just simply females that it's happening to. Please believe it. It's males as well. And it's not just young people. We need to be vigilant out here and help each other. I know quite often people want to mind their business, and that's fine. You don't have to jump in if you hear your neighbors quarreling. Call for help. Sometimes the persons involved that need the help the most, they cannot. Whether it's because, their phone is snatched from them, their exits are blocked. It's not bad to help, especially when it's needed. Also, if you have family members who are experiencing domestic violence, please reach out to various resources throughout the counties that can help them escape. There are hidden shelters. I know a lot of times it it's embarrassing to reach out for that type of help, but better to be embarrassed than to be dead. Better to be embarrassed than bruised. Better to be embarrassed than having your self-esteem belittled. You know, we all are trying to do the best we can, I'd like to assume. And these are daunting times that we live in. So, it is my goal to definitely stay alert and aware to matters where people are being violated, and if it's something I personally can't do, I'm definitely going to get authorities involved. Okay, I know some of you ladies who are in domestic violent relationships, and you may be tuning in today, have been threatened not to get the authorities called. If you call the police on me, I swear this will be the end of you and I. Sorry. And other threats. If you call the police on me, I won't be the one, but I'll get some family or friends after you. We cannot allow ourselves to be living in intimidation, family. Okay, that's not called living at all. It's called suffering. And it's also called misery loves company. So I don't want to dwell too deep on this topic, but if you find yourself, as I said, in the predicament that you need to reach out to someone to discuss, maybe just discuss what you're dealing with, dial 988. 988 will help talk to you, will help get your mind stable, and if not, point you in the direction that you need to go for more resources. Do not stick around in a situation that you don't have to be in. And by all means, if you have a family member that you trust or a friend you can trust, I know quite often sometimes it's those strangers that you can just trust. Utilize them. Okay? Now, I want to talk about some more fun subjects, especially with the summer around the corner. Tell me what you guys got planned going on for this month alone. I want to know what you did for Memorial Day this year. I need ideas. Are you guys staying local? Are you traveling? I was wondering what some people are planning this year for Juneteenth. Are you guys going to do any celebrations for Juneteenth? Do you think Juneteenth is a real holiday? Do you think it should be qualified as a holiday? I know for many of years before it was actually 2 years ago, I guess, is when it was technically turned into and nationally recognized as a holiday. But in the city I grew up in, Ellicott City, Maryland, we celebrated it ever since I was a young girl. And it was fascinating to me how many people did not know a thing about Juneteenth. And I'm talking about black folks, folks throughout Howard County. One friend of mine, he was like, that's just made up. My grandfather never told me about no Juneteenth. And we had a long dialogue, and he just couldn't believe that such a thing existed. So for some of you who don't really know the history of Juneteenth, it really is in recognition or observation of when slavery ended. Technically, it ended in 1863, but the word did not reach the southern states until 1865. So many southern slaves were captured, were held in captivity 2 years longer than the actual freeing of slaves. Why is that to be celebrated? It's to be celebrated because, remember now, the slaves didn't read. They were forbidden to do so. So they just went by word of mouth. And even when word of mouth did travel to those southern plantations that they were free, quite often there was doubt. How often does doubt stifle you from moving forward to pursue your dream? How often does the mental prison keep you from believing that you can soar? And how many of us are in disbelief that we can overcome limitations that's been placed on us, not only by society but by ourselves as well? So that's part of the reason we celebrate Juneteenth. The other part we celebrate Juneteenth is because of the simple fact, you know, if it wasn't for those forefathers and foremothers' DNA that survived, those of us that you see, where would we be? You know, quite often people don't like to discuss slavery because, oh, we make other races feel bad because of how they treated us, or, oh, we don't come from them people. Some people will say, I'm not African descent, and all that's fine and dandy. But what we have to do, folks, is have compassion for a group of people who still to this day struggle to receive the same respect as any other group that overcame their plight. Okay, I don't have to go into any specific racial groups, religious groups. Y'all know who they are. But we need to have the same type of respect for quote unquote African American history. Okay, and I definitely will be celebrating Juneteenth, even if it's just on my front porch, sipping some sweet tea and giving thanks and praises, because we're so blessed and fortunate, you know. And what we do today in teaching our youth, we would like them to acknowledge us and be grateful that we stood during the storms that we're weathering now. You know, people, it's important for me to state this because I see one of the biggest plots going on right now in society is racism. And racism exists just to keep the everyday people from coming together and rising up. We're better than that. We're smarter than that. I do not want to think that common sense went out the window with the 40-year-olds, the current 40-year-olds, and the younger generations are just not aware of the contradictions that's happening in society. For instance, the word nigga, 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 nigga. I can't stand hearing it. So much so that I just feel like screaming, especially when it's us hollering it out and we got the audience of others just looking at us like, take a note, right? Because when I was in middle school and high school growing up, we were very reluctant to call each other nigga, okay? Very reluctant. Something happened between the generation. There's a 5-year gap between me and my brother. By the time he got in high school and was playing football, I swear to you, all on the football field, he and his boys were calling each other, yeah, that's my nigga, that's my nigga. And now, I walked in a restaurant the other day up the street, and there's a little bar, and there's maybe like 3 or 4 people sitting in there. Two black men. Yes, I'm going there with the race, the colors. 2 black men, a lady who looked like she might have been Hispanic or something. Maybe she was biracial, and then a white dude. Okay, I understand that they had been sipping, everyone was in their element, but why did the woman constantly talk about those niggas? See what happens with niggas, what you know niggas don't understand. And I was not in there for her. I minded my business, but it took all the power in me not to just, for real, excuse me, miss. So glad I'm not as young as I used to be, because I would have went there. Y'all know me from yesteryear, and I'm doing my best to just be very full of couth at the age I am now. And thank goodness for composure. Let me get back on track. All right, back on track. We was talking about the Melvin. What were we talking about? Were you listening to me? What were we talking about? He wasn't listening. Juneteenth is what we was talking about. So yes, folks, that's the importance of celebrating Juneteenth. Okay. So the next podcast, I'll let you guys know of any events or activities that'll be taking place in and around, I would say the state, but definitely the county, in honor of Juneteenth. And Father's Day, I think, kind of coincides with Juneteenth. I think Father's Day is like the 17th. Juneteenth technically is considered the 19th of June. But so it'll probably be a lot of activity going on around that time. And as always, as I like to tell you guys, especially when it's the holidays and, celebrations of that nature, to be careful when traveling. A lot of folks are on the road. A lot of folks have been having merriment. So just, use some caution to the wind when you are trying to celebrate Juneteenth and Father's Day this month, because we want everybody to live. And so we're going to wrap up. With that being said, I'm going to take a moment now to thank those of you who reached out to me yesterday, because it was a rough day for me yesterday. As many of you know, some of you may know, I lost my baby sister a year ago yesterday. Without any warning, she had a heart attack. So I truly appreciate you all and your sincerity of remembering me and my family. And most of all, I want you guys to take care of your hearts, because that was one of the things we joked about, taking our heart pills. It's hot outside. We don't need anybody stroking out. Okay? Go to your doctors. Okay? Regulate your blood pressure, diabetes, anything of that nature. Your doctors are your friends. Your medicines are your friends. Please don't look at them as enemies. And later on, as we pick up on our podcast, we will have one dedicated specifically towards illnesses, coping with them, and overcoming. Yeah. So we will be looking forward to also having some discussions on ideas for the youth and family, so that folks can take advantage of their time off this year without having to travel or spend too much money. You can have fun staying at home too. Okay, so with that said, Melvin, is everything good with you? Anything that we should tell folks? I do want to put a special plug in for Disco Sundays. Anything coming up that folks should be in the know about?
There's an event coming. We're doing another event in between the 20th and the 27th for live performances and stuff like that. So you can announce that.
Okay, well, you just did. So between June 20th and 27th, we here at Disco Sunday Studios will have an open house for live performances. The last one was a huge success. So many people came out to support, and from what I understand, many songs were made that day. Or do y'all still call them songs, tracks? What they call them nowadays?
Yeah.
I'm keeping up with the lingo of the youth. So give me some grace. I appreciate you all. Thank you for tuning in to Saida's Orchid Room today. Look forward to seeing you soon. Peace and blessings.